Good morning and welcome back to the DGen crew. What I wanted to go over today was a recap of our Mr. Beast bet, and just a recap of what I want to do with this channel. I want to see if Polymarket if you can have an edge doing actual research, and I want. Just getting everything set up here for you guys. All right, so getting into it. Good morning. Welcome to the DGen crew. What I want to see, what I want to talk about with you guys is first of all a recap of our Mr. Beast bet. I want to show you the results. I want to do a post-game evaluation, and I want to see if Polymarket is there edge if you do actual research. Is the traditional market beatable on Polymarket? Is my research even good enough? And can the research help you guys out, so I'm not alone in this journey? Let's get right into it. So Polymarket, here is our result. First of all, let's go right into the Mr. Beast counter, and we hit 465,486. We did hit it on the Sunday of January 31st, exactly in the morning, like I predicted. There were some questions about the counters, and this is what I found a little bit crazy. People on the Polymarket chat, if you went into the Polymarket chat, people were saying, "Oh, can you imagine? Can you believe that some people believe in some of these counters?" And it did for a second put some doubt in my mind of okay, was the counter I was even following accurate? And then I had to go back and think about everything I'd looked at and everything I'd done. And the counter, I actually had two counters for this one. I was following that the live counter. I was also following another one here that showed. It didn't show live, but it showed regular updates. And what was really interesting, one of the reasons I believed in the counter I was using was because this would update plus a million every time the counter update plus a million, and I would back check that against the actual YouTube count. So it gave me a pretty good read, or a pretty good accuracy on my belief that this counter was real or was accurate. Because some people were saying, "Oh yeah, can you believe in a fake counter? Can you imagine all these people betting on this thing and they're using a fake counter?" So it did really throw me off for a second, and it did actually make me think, okay, was the counter I was using real? But I then had to go remind myself that I back checked the counter against the YouTube. I don't want to say the YouTube algorithm, but I guess it was the algorithm because it updated live, and all three counters seem to update live against the YouTube. But that also sort of put in a rule in my head, which I've added to the spreadsheet, of okay, make sure you're checking all the tools you're using to actually verify a prediction, or verify like whatever tool you're using to verify very specific things like a number count, or subscriber count in this case, for YouTube. Because I do think it's real that people will create things like this that might not be real to influence these bets. But it also put in another rule of, okay, when you're reading the chat, just like traditional markets, there are people that are going to try and FUD you out of a position. They're going to try to put doubt in your mind and make you want to sell, or make you want to buy. It could be either or. And I had to remind, so I put that in a rule of maybe I'll start tracking if I see specifically on a prediction that someone is actively trying to FUD a position, just to track that wallet, track that user account, and just so I can remind myself, okay, this person is actively trying to get me out of a position. What's interesting about Polymarket is in their chats. Let's go to an example of. I'm just gonna open any one. Let's go to an Elon one because I think it's funny. In their chats, you can usually actively see. It's really funny that I'm trying to explain this and it's not here. You can usually actively see someone's open position. So you'll be able to see whether someone, if they're very actively pushing a positive or negative narrative. You'll also be able to see which position they've actually taken on the prediction, if they're betting on it to be correct or betting on it to be depending on what outcome they're actually looking for. The only part you don't really know, and I guess this is sort of a flaw in this, is you don't really know if that person has multiple accounts. You'll never know. They could purchase a large amount in one account and FUD it one way, and then purchase a large amount in the other account, and just be counter trading their own trade. But let me see if I have an example of this. One of them should be here. Let's go to a trending one. How long will the government be shut down for? Yeah, so here's exactly what I'm trying to explain. So this person is betting. You can see what their position is. So they're actively just saying they're being positive. 5 days to go, boys. But you're able to see their position. Again, you can't see multiple accounts if they have multiple accounts, but you can really see if someone's saying negative things about something. You can verify what where they're putting their money where their mouth is. You can see where they're actually betting the money, putting their money where their bet is actually placed, which I find is really important, but not 100% accurate, mainly because of multiple accounts. But yeah, let's go. Let's do our first fireworks here. Let's get our fireworks going. So I had 3 bets that resolved on January 31st. I had one accidental that I clicked. I clicked on a silver. I didn't actually want it to fill, but there's no real verification when you click stuff. So I clicked it and it filled. I rode the position out because I was researching it, but I wasn't confident in it, so I didn't want to place the prediction. But when I was on my laptop, I accidentally clicked it, so I held the position. It was only $10 of profit, but it was a huge position for $10 of profit, so that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to make it. But so the majority of this proceeds were the Mr. Beast. So 25% return on $953. Let's get those fireworks. So actually the Mr. Beast here was a 30%, 37%. Ooh, we got to change this in our 37%, $494 won. Let's claim I did take proceeds. I did end up, so when I was on stream last time, I ended up making a little bit more, increasing the bet, increasing the prediction for the last 10% or 10 cents, because I thought it didn't make sense that this was almost a for sure thing. And so I added to it, and I did take profit at 98, and I let the rest ride. So let's claim these proceeds. And then the last one was, will silver hit a low of 55 by the end of January? And this one, I don't think I would make a prediction like that again, just based on how volatile the silver market was the last. I really, really, really don't like making time-based bets, especially for traditional markets, just because you're capped on you sort of cap your risk in terms of like it being a bad thing in terms of time, meaning like when you're basing it on a price, if something if some weird volatile thing happens, and the market flash crashes, or it crashes out, like on Friday, the market went down 30%, which was wild. And I think a lot of people weren't necessarily predicting that. But then it could rebound 30% the next day. So some of those moves are really volatile, which is why I don't love making time-based bets on specifically traditional markets. But I had put in a 55 that it would not hit $55 within by January 31st. And my reason for that was a pretty simple. The silver market was getting pretty short squeezy. The market was ripping higher, and it seemed to be continuing to rip higher. So I gave myself a pretty big buffer of, okay, if it falls, it'll fall, but I don't know if it'll be able to hit this low of $55 because it hadn't. I was using some charts. I'm not a huge chart person. I was using some charts and going, okay, it would have to fall almost 50% for it to hit this $55 mark, which it almost did. So this is why I don't like these bets. But the Mr. Beast one hit. We hit the 465 based on our research. I was a lot more confident in that one, and for that we returned 37%. Excellent. Fireworks. What up? Well, that was anticlimactic. There we go. So on to the next one. I do want to show you guys the Logan Paul PSA Pokemon prediction that I have going on. I'm not going to show you that right now. I still want to go over. So I don't have a full research of how to, like, haven't figured out quite how to find all the predictions I want to make. I've been scrolling through trending predictions. I've been scrolling through large wallets. So I've added into my spreadsheet, how I found the bet. And I've put in a lesson/post game. So my lesson and post game for this one was question and verify the tools like counters. Comments on Polymark seem to be try and cast out, like their inverse Kramer counter. If you guys know Mad Money, people have the inverse Kramer trade. So can you inverse counter trade some of these doubts that people are casting when they're casting FUD? But I've also added in how I found the bet, how I found the prediction, and how I found that one specifically was just through scrolling large winning wallets, and it was also on a trending prediction. So I dove into it. I started looking at if this is even possible. So my next question is, because we won that one, my next immediate research that I wanted to look into, because we've done all the baseline for this now, is, because I think this is a reoccurring one, is the Mr. Beast. Actually, we'll just go here. We're just going to go here. I'm just going to go here. So it is a reoccurring bet. So that one ended January 31st. The outcome was yes for a 465 million. So the question immediately that I have is, do you think is it possible? What are the March 31st predictions? We've done a baseline of this research, so why not continue down? Excuse me. Why not continue down this path? So the 470 million is 99%. So if you wanted to like based on our counter, 465. So 470 million is almost a 99% guarantee. So one of the questions that someone asked me was, where do you think this caps at? And to that, I don't really have an answer. Because if your audience is mainly children, okay, can we take the global population and just figure out how many kids are in the world, and then say, okay, what percentage of kids are actually going to follow this? That's a huge leap for me to be able to start guessing at those numbers, but or putting those numbers together. So I think I will start doing that, just to see where this even caps out at. What percentage of the audience is adults? Is there YouTube in China, and are they watching on YouTube in China? Are they watching on a different streaming platform? Is the Amazon Prime show actually going to take away from the YouTube subscribers? There's many questions to ask to figure out where this actually caps at. I don't think we're near the cap yet, but when you start getting into the 1 billion follower mark, I think we have to start asking, okay, where does this actually cap at? How many subscribers? If the population of the world is X, can this actually get to? It can't get higher than the number of people that there are in the world, uh, obviously. So, figuring out where this actually caps at and when it starts slowing down. Mr. Beast did just make a huge. Someone made, I think it was Bitwise, or one of the big crypto treasury companies, just made a huge investment in Mr. Beast, specifically before with Ethereum, and using some of their trying to sell digital NFTs, ETFs, digital banking, to their, because he has a huge follower base. So trying to sell other services. So to me, if you're starting down that path of trying to sell other services, it means you're coming to that realization that you might be hitting your, I mean, you already have this huge user base, but you might be coming to the pinnacle of how many people are following you. So you start questioning, okay, is there other ways to grow our business? I don't think that he is there yet, but my point is that at some point in time there will be a cap. So this bet will have eventually there should be a bet of what is the maximum amount of subscribers he can have on this one platform in the next 10 years. That would be the next obvious bet for me to see on this platform, which would be kind of funny because you'd also be able to hedge your own positions against that. But let's look at this. So 470 is 99%. If I wanted to cop, it's even less than that. If I wanted to cop 0.5% in less than 2 months, you could probably buy quite a bit of this. Again, these markets aren't necessarily liquid, so you'd have to buy slowly over time, so you're not just buying at 100%. But to me, that is still quite a bit of risk. I don't want to do this for 1%. I think there's other ways in the world you could buy treasury bills and make your 1%. So for me, that's no good. 472. So I guess the question, let's start with how many days from now to March 31st? All right, super basic here. So 57 days until March 31st. Let's say he was averaging, based on our research, he was averaging 233, so 233,000 subscribers a day. So 13,281,000. Let's add to his current subscribers are 465. So 478, I believe. So 478, and it's really funny. There's no 478. So actually, this is the. So 480 is you could buy pretty low if you believe that he was that the. So this would be so 480 would be a similar bet. 475, he should hit that, and that's why it's paying 91%. What was interesting about the last prediction, if you're going based on similarity, the 480 versus the 475, one of the reasons why I made the last prediction was your downside to subscribers is kind of capped in terms of once you're subscribed, you're unlikely to unfollow, and the upside is uncapped, meaning that if there was one day or in that whole 3 week time frame, 2 to 3 week time frame, that was abnormal growth, the upside, then the percentage would change relatively fast. So to me, the 478 is where I think he'll probably end up around. So the 475, more or less, like I think he should hit that. So is it worth 9% for that in 2 months? That's I'd be looking at the 475, and the 480. I would say it's unlikely that he would hit it, but based on the prediction in the last bet, if you want to go a little bit further out on the risk curve, that's where the bigger money could be made. But yeah, 475 looks interesting. 480 is okay. Let's break it down a little bit more by hour, because last time we did it by hour, and we need to go by universal time. Let's go. How many hours from today's date? Let's see how different the number is, because last time we broke it down by day and then we broke it down by hour. Goodness, you're being slow today. One thousand three hundred and 1,363 hours time. We want to do 1,363 times. He had 9,000 subscribers per hour. And I'm giving myself a little buffer because I actually think it was a little higher than 9,000, but I want to give myself a bit of a buffer on this. So total is 12,267. And if I did it by day before, it was 13,281. So it's actually lower. So the 480 is like you almost, so 475 is the most likely, which is why it's the highest. 480 is pretty unlikely as of right now, unless there's some huge, unless there's, again, it's a capped upside. So one amazing video could add a ton of subscribers in one day. But yeah, I'm not going to place any prediction. I'm not going to place any bets right now because I don't. 475 for 9% is quite a bit of risk. And 480, I almost want to buy the no on this. Yeah, I could also buy the no on it at a later time. There's nothing stopping me from. I want to be pretty certain before I actually buy some stuff. So for now, I'm gonna wait, see how these. Because I also think this number, I think 475. If he has some weeks that are below average, this number could go down pretty quickly. And this number would also go down pretty quickly, and then might be worth buying at a later time. But for now, I'm gonna say no to this one. We're gonna put this one on hold. To me, the obvious choice, but buy 475 for 9%. This would be quite a bit more risk. But if this number adjusts down a little bit more, it might be worth taking that risk. But not right now for me. Let's quickly, before I hop off, let's quickly see what else is trending. So if you're following in the news, they said the government shutdown would last 4 days. I actually don't know what this day, 4+ days. So these are the kind of bets. If they said 4 days, I'm gonna take predictions like this at face value. If they said 4 days, then I'm gonna believe what they said, and it's gonna be 4 days. It's already trading at 99%, 99 cents, 99%. So for the extra 1%, I'm not gonna, in case like the fifth day is at 55. This is actually, if I'm taking it at face value, I should be buying the no here. Should be looking at some of these no's. This is actually. What date does this resolve on? I believe they said this on Sunday. This market will resolve to yes if the government is shut down for the listed number of days inclusive on the beginning and ending date. Otherwise, this market will resolve to no. What date did you start on, though? Okay, so start on January 31st. Started on January 31st, so plus 1, 2, 3. We are the 2nd today, so they're counting January 31st as one day. The 1st and the 2nd. That doesn't make sense. January 31st, the 1st, and the 2nd. Okay, it does make sense. We're 3 days in. And they said we would be open on the Tuesday, so day 4. We're going into a new project here. We're going to call it Government Shutdown. need to Google who said that. When will... Ooh. Genesis said no quick House vote to end partial shutdown and blames Democrats. Okay. He said he can end it by Tuesday. Okay, I see what this is now. I get it. So originally Speaker Johnson said that the government, apparently from what I read on Sunday, he said it was going to be reopened on Tuesday, but based on this, it looks like they may have changed their mind. We're shutting the Mr. Beast one for now. Shut this as well. So I have to be very careful with the wording of these predictions, because I wasn't sure what they were trying to get at here. So if it was shut down, so it was shut down for plus 1 day, so that outcome 1. It was shut down for plus a second day, so that outcome 1. So Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Shut down for Monday. It's still shut down, so I guess the outcome, again, this one's not, doesn't say time based. Like if they reopen today, why wouldn't this one? Why wouldn't want this one resolved to no? That's a weird thing to me. So plus 4 days. So to me, plus 4 days would be Tuesday. So they're assuming that it won't reopen on Tuesday. I still don't understand why, if this was the 31st Saturday, this is the Sunday, and this is the Monday. I don't understand why this one already resolved. If the day, if the day could be. So if there was no shutdown, if there was no shutdown on the 31st, all of these would have automatically resolved to no. So I'm assuming people are saying that like today resolved already, apparently. I guess they're assuming that because there's no way that everyone can sign the bill and including the president by the end of today. So this is just automatically resolved to yes, meaning that it was plus 3 days. So people are predicting that it will also be shut down tomorrow, and tomorrow being Tuesday, and that it will also be shut down on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it does keep decreasing. Anyway, we're gonna put this in a watch list. Oh, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna make a watch category here. All right, we're putting it in a watch category. Obviously, the Super Bowl is trending right now. What I'll follow in this is the actual volume of how much money is traded on it. But yeah, obviously this one is trending. The goal, I'm trying not to bet here. I'm trying not to gamble, so we're not going to bet on sports. We're not sports betting. I'm trying not to gamble, so this is not a. We will close. Don't look at that. Don't look at that one. I always follow the Fed decisions in March. I'm more just curious what the actual market's predicting. Still, people are predicting no change in March. If the stock market does really poorly, I would start looking at this. Start looking at a 25-point decrease. But I think the Fed is super. It's been politicized, so it's probably likely that no change. All right, so nothing's popping out at me right off the top. I also track some of the bigger, larger wallets, so I'll go into some of those wallets and see what what they're predicting right now. But I can also go into some of our. Actually, this one's doing really well right now. I wanted to add to this one, MicroStrategy, nothing ever happens, meaning I wanted to add to this one, and it ripped higher in the last week. I started buying into this one at 19 cents. It's up 300%, crazy. So that should I be taking profits on that soon? I've traded around this one a little bit, but I'll go into more detail on this market at another time. So specifically, this market is MicroStrategy sells any Bitcoin, which historically they haven't sold any Bitcoin yet. The reason to me that they would sell is for tax purposes, take a quick loss, and then rebuy it back. They claim they won't be forced to sell any, just based on they would have to drop to 10,000 for them to sell any. That's what they've said. So I would rule that that sell any Bitcoin is probably something that's unlikely to happen. This one really comes down to 750K. Will they hold 750K Bitcoin by March 31st? With the amount that they were adding at like $22,000 Bitcoin a week, it became very possible that they would hit the 750K Bitcoin. MicroStrategy announced bankruptcy. They have enough cash to not have to do that right now. and MicroStrategy added to the S&P seems to be unlikely. So predicting that nothing ever happens. Really, this one depends on the 750k Bitcoin. And again, I can go to their website. I'll go a little bit more in depth in this one on a later stream. But it went from 19 cents to 79 cents. It's been a pretty wild ride, this one. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be adding here. I wouldn't be adding here because I do think the 750k Bitcoin by March 31st is pretty likely. Actually, let's go. Let's go to see how much they have right now. So they did two enormous buys. They did two enormous buys of like 22,000, which is why the odds on that one dropped huge. And now they're back to adding smaller amounts every week. Market cap, where are you? Total Bitcoin held. Yeah, so this is their total Bitcoin holdings. They're at 713,000 Bitcoin held, and they'd have to get to 750 by March 31st for that to resolve to no. But when they were adding 22,000 Bitcoin a week, those odds dropped heavily in the no's favor, because 22,000 a week was becoming more and more likely, with huge purchases like that. Something to keep an eye on for this one specifically is how much money they're raising. So you can almost front run this prediction if you see that MicroStrategy, because what has been happening is MicroStrategy will raise $2 or $3 billion and they'll do the purchase pretty quickly all at once. So my reason to buy my reason to buy yes on this, or to buy no, would be following how much money they're raising and trying to front run this one. If they did $1 billion raise tomorrow, they would be able to buy another 20,000 Bitcoin, jumping this up pretty quickly. So this is one I'm keeping an eye on. I've actually started the position in this, but for example, my position was that yes, nothing will happen, and my reason to exit this, and I'll exit it pretty quickly, if they do a huge raise tomorrow, this is an automatic sell for me. Get out of it, and maybe even take the opposite side of the bet depending on how much money they raise. But yeah, that's it for me for now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you liked some of that research, and we'll dive deeper on the next one. Thanks for watching.